Cover Killer Nation, the year of the return continues on here in 2011 with another very anticipated album to drop not only here in September of 2011, but, well, for quite some time. We're talking about 12 years nearly. We're talking Green NAUGAHYDE by Primus. This is the first album of new material by Primus now in roughly about 11 to 12 years. It's a 13-track affair that clocks in just over 50 minutes in length. Now, if you guys know anything about Primus, and considering it's been about 11 or 12 years, some of you guys might have been like 2 whenever their last album was recorded and released. Well, Primus is a very, very interesting beast. They're a very unique musical element where you can almost lump them in with the whole metal department considering all the things that they have done and some of their back catalog, but in reality, what you really should be doing is looking at them as their own independent musical idea. Kind of this amalgamation of rock and roll, of metal, and of just all-out strange, weird, little ideas that have been thrown together by Les Claypool and the boys, and a very unique musical expression. It's really the best way that you can describe this band. Now, you might think that after a 11 to 12 year absence that perhaps some of that edge has maybe worn off, either that or it really just doesn't kick the same way as it did in years past. But alas, if anything, it's only gotten stronger. This is an album that contains each and every one of Primus's signatures. Les's bass playing is once again triumphant as usual, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be. This is a man who is truly the master of his craft and the master of his instrument, and he shows the diversity of his style with each and every project that he's a part of. If you remember, he was also included on a cover version of Tuesday's Gone, which was back on Metallica's Garage Incorporated album. Not to mention he's done a slew of other guest works, as well as releasing a solo album. This is an album that really, you don't expect it to flow, because Primus is the type of band where their ideas are not meant to run together. Instead, each and every song is meant to represent an individual creative ploy that was kind of, I guess, dug up by these guys as though they were searching for buried treasure. And with each and every one of these tracks, they're going to find a different breed of treasure. You might find something that's a little bit more valuable in one hole as opposed to in another hole where you find something that may not have the same value but has a seductive charm to it. And that's a perfect metaphor for this album as well. There might not be a lot of tracks on here that you necessarily call Primus Gold, but each and every track has that little seductive sliver that keeps you coming back for more. These are tracks of varied length. We're talking from anywhere to less than a minute, which was the final track, Salmon Man, to all the way up to 6.5. And each and every musical idea is able to really pack a punch, while at the same time making you chuckle, and also, you know, making you rock out a little bit. And that's something that Primus has always been known for, and if you think about it, with their hits, they're not even necessarily the funniest tracks that this band has really been able to put out. And this is not necessarily a band that's all going completely 100% for humor. They're just going for a very offbeat, kind of Frank Zappa type approach, where it's not meant to all be slapstick. There's definitely meant to be some seriousness behind it, but whenever you transcribe the commentary, whenever you just take a listen to what exactly the subject matter is, it just sounds absolutely ridiculous. Primus is a band that for die-hard fans will never get old, but for traditional fans of music are a necessity and a commodity in a scene that seems devoid of this style of musical expression. Most of the time, whenever you hear bands do something comedic and something that's typically out of character toward their traditional body of work, either that or they're just a full-out joke band. It's very rare that you see a band that is able to not take themselves seriously to the point where it's seriously funny. Primus is the unique breed between like hard and heavy metal and conventional rock and roll and just flat out fun that fans of all ages and of all spectrums of musical taste are able to really enjoy something off of these individual records, and especially off of this new one, Green NAUGAHYDE. Primus will continue to have that legacy after this record is released this coming Tuesday. And I believe that you guys will see this and hear this whenever you guys are able to check it out on that date. And definitely check out the album cover. It's cool. It's pretty cool too. Overall, I'd have to give this album a nice solid 8 out of 10. This is something that's really nice to revisit whenever you're just in the mood to, lighten your mood. This is also something where if you're a bass player or a prospective bass player, you may want to study the work of Les Claypool, because he definitely has a style all to his own and a uniqueness that is going to be very difficult to match, let alone top. Definitely check out this record. It's a lot of fun. It's one that I do recommend. Coverkillernation saying that in times of dire straits, you need a little something to make you smile. And this is the perfect album to do that. So I thank you guys for recommending it. And I thank Primus for coming back right at the right time. Thank you, gentlemen.